Good morning. Are you booming today?
I'm taking my mama to the doctor.
Okay. Good morning, Chevette.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Elsie. Good morning, Tania. Good morning, Amanda.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Maisha. Hey, Tania, you say you had sent me your website, but I didn't get it. When I looked at that message, you had removed it.
I yes, ma'am, I did. I resend it today.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
She's so conscious. She can tell about this girl. She not even a part of our broker, but baby, she is faithfully on Clubhouse.
Um,
Behind you.
Benitra, I tried to call nobody. He didn't answer me, so I'll work on that today for you, okay?
Huh?
What'd you say?
What?
I said I
What
tried to
behind you?
call.
Oh, I hear
He
you,
on the phone.
Janelle.
Okay.
No. Okay. Who I'm
Okay, guys, we're
talking?
gonna
I'm
get
sorry.
started here in
You
five.
say he
Yeah,
didn't answer the phone?
no, ma'am.
Oh.
No. Good morning. We're going to have a conversation today about getting started into real estate. So, whether you have been in real estate for a while and have just gotten out of the groove of things and are ready to get your business back going, or if you're new to the business, we will definitely have you some power steps in order for you to get started. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about before we get started this morning? Good morning, Ray. Good morning, AK. Good morning, Derek.
Good morning.
You sound up and at 'em today, AK.
Yeah, for some reason I feel good this morning, so I'm gonna
Oh,
ride with it. Keep it up.
good deal.
Oh, I know what it is. I got this mud district meeting this evening, and this afternoon, if I don't bring up my positivity, I'm gonna choke somebody. So it's
Is
an
it that
artificial high.
bad?
Yeah, it can get that bad sometimes, but doing it for the community. So
Well, it's a good thing. I wish I did understand. I need to start going to those meetings. If you could tell me when they are, because I need to understand it. I am from a city where they don't have mud, so I really don't understand the mud.
yeah, I think you owe me lunch. We was gonna talk about it one
Oh,
day.
that's right. I got you.
Mhm. I love to talk about it. That's when you're
I'm
not
going.
sick anyway.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little better today. I mean, I'm feeling a lot better. I don't want to say a little. I am definitely feeling a lot better. I'm trying to, I'm going to put a link to a form for you guys, a productivity form for you to use every day to stay on track. So bear with me. I'm trying to figure out how to add the link to it. But eventually you will see it up at the top, and you guys can download it after the class is over. Okay, so we're going to get started today talking about how to get started into real estate, or not necessarily get started in real estate, but how to start being productive in real estate. And so I want to plant three questions on your mind as we're talking today. I want you to think about some things. And I want you to evaluate your business and where you are in life. I think business and life kind of go hand in hand. And I want you to ask yourself, what changes do you need to make? And then I want you to think about it for a minute. And then what will be the results of your life, or what will be the status of your life if you make those changes? And then the last question I want you to ask yourself is, what are the consequences if I don't make the change and I stay the same? It's highly important for us to identify all three of those places in our life right now, especially as entrepreneurs, with a lot of things changing, and the news is affecting the way people are doing business with us. So we need to understand our commitment to our reaching our goals, and what disciplines that we need to put into place. So there are two disciplines that most people do not master or work on, and that's your mindset and your behaviors. Your behaviors identify your success. And so it's some things that important things that I want you guys to start focusing on. But if I was to ask you right now, what would be some things that you want to fix right now in your business in order to be able to reach your goals for the month? What would be some things that you guys want to change or want some advice on?
Imposter syndrome.
Mm, okay. Why is that an issue?
Because I have good goals. I have good ideas, good goals, and then it's like I start acting on it, and then I share it with somebody, and then I listen to somebody like, nah, that ain't gonna work, and then it's like I know it's gonna work. I know it's gonna work, and then I be like, it ain't gonna work, and then I just freeze and just, I mean, or I talk myself out of it, even though I know how to do it from the beginning to the end,
Okay.
because I sit back and studied it.
So it's about your behaviors, right? So remember, I just said it's two things that we have to work on in order to be successful in any business. That's our mindset. So it's our thought process about this process, and then it's our behaviors, what we tend to do. So how your daily behaviors, especially when you're sharing things with people, is probably one of the things that you might want to change. And we have to change who we speak to because energy is contagious. So the people that are around you, if they have not accomplished the things that you are thinking of, talking, or trying to do, then their conversation is always going to be negative. That's just the power of I'm going to get the word out in a minute. But so you have to watch who you're having a conversation with. If a person cannot physically perceive themselves being able to do whatever you tell them to do, they're automatically going to have a negative connotation about it. So let's evaluate, who are you speaking to? Are we talking to people who have completed the things that you're saying you're going to do, or are we talking to people who or who we used to be?
Um, Mostly family member. Like I'm like the first of everything in my family. The first entrepreneur, the the first to get their own house, the first, I mean, the first to be married. I mean, I'm just the first of everything. So, basically sharing my ideas with people who haven't seen or on the level where I'm at.
Yeah, mistake number one, right? I can share in your pain in your process because I was that person. I was the first to get married, the first to own a business, the first to have children, and also the first person who to buck the process. Everybody who, like I said, has done something in their life, they believe that that's the only way and that's the way it's supposed to work. But our processes become successful. And whether we believe it or not, we're all following a process. We're either following a process of failure or we're following a process of success. Whatever you do consistently will work for you. So if you do nothing consistently, you will consistently get nothing. If you do something positive and something productive, you will get something from it. If you remember yesterday, I was telling you guys, if you go out and you build relationships, you will get business. You will, if you go out and talk to enough people, it's impossible for you not to meet someone that says, yes, I want to buy or sell or invest in real estate. So it's about who we're having our conversations with. And I'm going to tell you, family is not always the best people to share your ideas with. That's another reason why we should network and we should join organizations and get around people who we want to be like. And I know when people say that, I used to ask people the question all the time. They was like, change your table, get in better environments, talk to more, talk to better people, change who you're speaking to. And I'm like, well, that sounds easy, but the people that I want to be like, how do I get conversations with them? So sometimes you have to work yourself up the chain, but download an app on your phone called Meetup and go around and start surrounding yourself around people who are speaking the language that you want to speak, not the same language you're speaking, not the family members, but go download people in positions and places, and go to networking events where people will be able to talk the way you want to talk and adapt to that environment. Because if a person has never accomplished what you're trying to accomplish, they will have every negative answer to everything that you want to do. I hope that helped you.
It did.
So don't tell nobody else. Just do it. If you feel like it's gonna work, win the first 60 seconds, 60 minutes of your day. So, Tennille, if you don't mind, I'll use you as an example. What do you do when you first get up in the morning?
Pray and take a bath.
Okay. So, and then are you prepared for your day after you bathe? What do you do next?
I sit down at my computer and check email for my truck company.
Okay. So you have more than one business.
Yes, I do trucking and insurance.
So in that, do you have 15 steps on a success list that you know that by all means necessary you have to get complete today?
What you mean about that? I'm confused.
Okay. So do you have on a piece of paper today the 15 things that you must get accomplished today by all means necessary?
No, I just have alerts on my phone that that'll come through like it's time to do this, it's time to do that.
Okay. So how successful are you with that?
Very I probably veer off about, I'd say probably like about 5 or 10% of the time that if some come and distract me in the middle, but eventually I go back to finish.
Okay. So let's take your day from yesterday. When you finished all of the things that you had on your alert list, did any of it equal $1? Did any of it make you money?
On the trucking and insurance side, but not real estate. And that's
Okay.
what my I've been wanting to do since I was a child.
So that's where we have to get to. So that's what class is going to be about. I mean, that's what this conversation is going to be about today. And it's because we have to get to the point where our activities at the end of the day is equaling $1. So that's one of the things we have to do is about focusing, tracking, and scaling. So if you want to increase your business over 30 to 40% in the next 30 days, these are the things that I suggest that you guys do. One thing you need to do is you need to read a lot of wealth building books. If you need some suggestions, I will give you some. One of the best books that any real estate agent or any salesperson can read is the Little Red Book of Selling. It's a really short read, very powerful read, and it will give you guys a lot of insight on what you should do. And then you should get to the point where you're doing 72 touches. This is how you do 72 touches. On your success list every day, you should make 8 phone calls. You should have sent out at least a combination of in education information, videos, or quotes. You need to send out 24 of those a day. You need to mail 2 postcards to people that you had talked to the day before at either your networking event or out in the city where you were actually working. And then you need to send out 100 market snapshots via email every day to the people in your database. You should make at least 8 social media posts creating an audience with your event that you're going to either create or attend to create an environment of people who are watching you. And then you need to send out, you need to make 1,000 emails to your database. Now, if your database is 400 and you need to send out 1,000, that means you need to send out 2 emails a week to the people that's in your database. Does that make sense?
Okay, you said 72 touches, 8 phone calls, 24 what?
Videos, posts, or educational quotes.
Okay.
2 postcards to people you met yesterday.
100 marketing snapshot, 8
Mm-hmm.
video posts, and 100 emails.
Correct. So you have to realize that everyone that's in our database, it has a 10 on their forehead. These are people who know, love, and trust us, right? So if they have a 10, that means if I contact them over a year period, I'm eventually going to get at least a deal or a referral from the people in my database. But they first have to know, love, and trust us. And you need to have a database of 1,000 people ASAP. If you have a database of 1,000 people, divide that by 12 and someone tell me how many deals do you have in your database. I want you guys to do the math so that you can understand the power that's in your database. So what's 1,000 divided by 12?
83.
83. 83.
83. So with 83 deals in the next year change your life.
Yes, indeed.
So now take the 83, multiply times the commission, your average commission, and that will tell you how much money your database is worth. A database that is maintained, communicated with, and increased will forever feed your real estate business. It is about who you know.
Why you use the number 12?
The number 12, because there is a statistic that says for every 6 people you know, they're going to do real estate with you, and every 6 people you know will give you a referral.
Gotcha.
So if you divide it by 12, that's the net worth of your database. Now, how do I get those people out of my database? It is technically just communicating with it and becoming top of mind. If I ask each and every one of you guys, what's the number one, what's the first shoe that comes to mind? Or we don't even have to do shoe. What's the first food that comes to mind? If I ask you that, immediately you're going to have a thought in your head. Whatever that thought is, you need to figure out how did that thought become part of your life. How often do you see that? How are they communicating with you? And that's how you determine how do you become the brand ambassador for your database. You have to become top of mind. It's not about um, how many times they see my name and come across their computer. It's about every time they think about real estate, they think about me. My name is brain stained in their mind. And the only way to do that is to have a logo and a catchphrase. So with Nike, when you think of your first tennis shoe, you think of Nike. But some people don't say Nike, some people say Jordan. That's one of the logos that they have. Or when you think about Nike, you don't just think about it by itself. You think about the check and then you think about the phrase that says, just do it. So, how many of you guys have a slogan, a catchphrase, and a logo for your business?
Me.
Let's get
Me.
your keys.
Let's get your keys. That's an example, right? Because if you just put Janelle Compton in real estate, that's not enough for a person to remember me. But when I tell people that I'm the real estate MVP, or I'm your real estate coach, your profit builder, that gives people something to remember. I know at least 50,000 real estate agents, close to every person that's on this phone, no matter what city you live in. So, what is going to separate you from the other people? So, if you're trying to figure out what's my first step is if my database is not up to par to meet my real estate goals, then that's my first step, is adding to my database. The second step is where I'm going to meet these people. So you need to join organizations in the areas in which you want to work, and you need to download the app called Meetup. You should have three places that you visit every single day. You should visit Eventbrite for all of the events that are close to the targeted audience that you're trying to serve. You should visit your app on Meetup, and you should visit Facebook because that's where your events are going to be. And then you should go into the neighborhoods in which that you want to work. So let's say you want to work in Lake Houston. I'm trying to figure out a certain neighborhood. So Legends Ranch, that's where Ray is. I would definitely be a member of the HOA. And every community event that they're having, I need to have on my calendar, on my social media, and I need to know the age and the demographics of the people that are in that area so that I know how to serve them. Now, the reason why I want to know the age and the demographics is because each demographic and each age group communicate different. So, if my neighborhood is made up of 35 to 45-year-olds, what communication channels would I use for them?
Text, Facebook. I mean, text, Instagram, and TikTok.
Okay. What? How many people agree or disagree, or have another channel to add? What do y'all do? My 35 to 45-year-olds. What social media channels are you using?
Facebook and LinkedIn.
Facebook and LinkedIn. So if my neighborhood consisted of 55 to 75-year-olds, what communication channels would I use?
Donut shop,
Mail.
Knocking on the doors.
uh,
Very good.
community center,
Hmm.
um, Facebook,
MySpace.
and local. Yeah, local um like the sewing organization, um, local
Look,
organ like
local
sewing.
classes and stuff, right?
Correct.
So you notice that you guys didn't say a lot of social media. So here's a common mistake that I see real estate agents make. They're communicating on the social media platform of their choice and not the social media platform of their target audience. So if I want to talk to older people like talking to people. So you have to wrap your mind around the exercises and lead generation for the audience that you want to speak to. So does everyone have a target audience that they're trying to reach? Or do you know what I mean by target audience?
My target audience is homeowner. The ones between I say 28 to like 40.
Okay. So have you did the research and the A/B testing to figure out the ownership percentage of that age group?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so here's how you do it. There's got to be a local title company close to you somewhere. So I know the three main title companies that actually have this app. Um, you have First American Title, Stewart Title, and WFG Title. They all have an app that's based off of CoreLogic that will give you all of that research that I just told you. It will tell people it will tell you who's amped to move, who's owned a home, who has good credit, who has the income, and it will give you all of that information in order to know if the age group that you are trying to service can satisfy your real estate goals. So I would go there before I make a whole marketing program and start going out and doing busy work so I can have productive activities going on to give me a faster result. We have to find the activities that's going to give us a fast result. Now, everything that you guys are doing is going to work eventually. But if we're trying to get back going and get a deal in the next 30 days and catch up on our goals and finish this year strong, we have to make purposeful actions every single day. Now, if I was talking to people between 25 and 35, what social media channel, what lead generations and avenues would I communicate with them on?
Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube.
Is 25 to 35 a valuable audience to speak to?
For first time buyers, because that's like round by the age they're leaving college.
So, Tania, one thing I want you to do is I want you to believe in everything you do. You have the answers.
Yes, ma'am.
You have the answers. You guys have what it takes. You just have to think different and plan different. Because in actuality, if I was going to talk to people between 25 and 35, I definitely will be talking to people. I definitely would know all of the first time home buyer programs, all of the lenders who specialize in the first time home buyer programs. And I would be in the colleges and sending out emails to the students on a weekly basis. So if you want to send out 1,000 emails a month, you definitely need to do it to college students if you're going to be working in the age group of 25 to 35. So if you're that age, you know the language, I would be speaking to them. Just for your guys' information, a college student can buy a house once they graduate from school, and they can use their degree as work experience.
And 1 year of work history.
They can use it. They can actually, if they got a whole degree, they and an offer letter to a job, they don't even need work history. Their education is their work history. So, and they can get a lot of programs out there where they can get their closing costs and their down payment taken care of. Another thing is if you're talking to people between that age and they're still in school, there's a such thing as house hacking. Does anyone know what house hacking is?
No, ma'am.
Yes, I did one in December in Prairie.
Awesome. Tell us about it.
Pretty much when you buy a multiplex, multi-unit, preferably a duplex, live in one side and rent the other side out.
So how were you able? You did with a college student, right?
Actually, she was a professor at A&M, and we went to look for duplexes in Houston, and she was just outpriced. And come to find out, I had a friend that knew somebody in Prairie View that had a fourplex that was down the street from Prairie View that actually worked out pretty perfect. So she's technically staying in one side and renting the other three out.
Did she do an FHA 203K?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So for the people who don't know what house hacking is, what it does is allows you to live in one portion of a multi-unit property, and the other units pay your rent or your mortgage, so that you can live rent free. It's called house hacking. So basically, I hacked into a property, but you have to have more than one unit in order to do this. And then if you really want to maximize on this, the more doors, the better. But you can actually buy it on a FHA loan, a 203K, which means you only have to put down 3.5%, and you could be living for free. Now, the reason why this works for college students is because a lot of college students get financial aid. And in their financial aid, they have a portion of it that goes to housing. So if they were just to take their financial aid and put it down on a multi-unit property at 3.5%, which is probably one semester's worth of housing, they could actually live off campus, rent out the other 3 units to the people that were in school with them, and live free and be collecting a check as well. So they could actually be working and building equity, building income, and not having to stay in the dorm while they're in college.
And
What
the
about
key,
what about
the
the income part?
Say it again.
What about them having to show income?
So their income, they don't have to show income, right? Because their income is their financial aid.
Okay, okay, okay.
And they only can do it with a 203K loan, right? They have to, because that's not the only way they can do it. They actually can do it conventionally, but the cheapest way to do it is to do it with a 203K. And with the 203K, it'll give them an escrow account to fix the property if there's something wrong with it.
And also the key is, since it's a primary residence, they can qualify for all those loan products you just mentioned, regular conventional loans. But if they end up buying a single family house first and end up trying to not necessarily house hack, but buy a duplex or invest, now they got to go to a commercial loan. Now they got to put down 20%. You do the house hack first, and you don't have to put down that 20%. You can use a regular mortgage products.
And then, Charlie, the way they can qualify for a traditional mortgage is now they have income coming. And so with an investment property, you don't necessarily need all of the criteria for a traditional mortgage. So a traditional mortgage, you need 2 years of 2 years of tax returns. You need 2 years of income. But with house hacking, it is actually an investment property, and the property qualifies itself. So if you ever meet someone and they don't have the 2 years worth of taxes and the 2 years worth of income, if they buy an investment property, they're not qualifying the person anymore. They're qualifying the house.
Do credit qualify in this case?
But the minimum for FHA loan is 580.
Sounds like a student. And
Sound like a
also, if
student.
you think about it, if you capture somebody at that time, at that age, and you put them in a house hack situation, I guarantee you within 3 to 5 years they're gonna be back again to buy another house, if not a investment house or their single family house, their primary residence. So you building a lifelong client forever.
Correct. Correct. And you're going to sell houses to their parents because a lot of people our age don't understand the process. So they weren't able to teach it to their children. So if you really want to get into business fast, build a room around this conversation. Go out and put a room together. Bring a bunch of college kids in there. Help them to see where the money is and how they can get into this fast. And they will do it. Kids are quick to, I'm not going to say kids, but young adults are quick to flip money, right? They understand the process. They don't have very many limited beliefs like the older people do. So you say that 25-year-olds can't buy a house because they don't have any money and they don't have a job. They can. It's just the product that you're trying to sell them. So that's what we have to realize is who we're talking to and how can we help those people. We can't talk to every age group or every demographic the same. Oh, you know what?
Janelle,
Mm-hmm.
what did you say? It's a 203. Um, what did you say? It was a 203.
203K.
203K.
Yeah, the printer I'm hooked up to,
Okay,
yeah,
thank
whoever,
you.
it's 203K. So FHA has two types of loans. They have 203B.
Oh, we lost her.
Yeah, she'll be back shortly.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I kicked myself out. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So 203K has, I mean, 203, FHA has two types of loans, 203B and 203K. 203B is without escrow. That means that the house is in good shape. It has all of the FHA required standards, and you still pay 3.5% down. A 203K is a FHA with escrow. So that means does not qualify with all of the FHA standards. But what they will do is they will take the after repair value, escrow the money it takes to get it there, and then once you fix it, they give you the money. That is
Okay.
the cheapest way to get into investing without all of the other issues and problems and financings and all that kind of stuff. Now, understand that anytime you buy an income driven property, what's described as an income driven property is that this property is used to make an income. So, any rental property, you do not necessarily have to qualify personally for this loan. The property qualifies itself. So if you can show that this property will bring enough money to pay the mortgage and make a profit, then they qualify the property over the person. And that's how house hacking works. Any questions? Any more questions about house hacking? Okay, so right now, another thing that you guys should be doing is you guys should be building relationships with the schools. There are going to be some changes made in schools. There's going to be, they're right now building boards, they're building PTA programs. And if you really want to get into the school, July is going to be the perfect month for you to go out and start building those relationships. If I'm not mistaken, if this is not the last week of summer school, next week is going to be the last week of summer school, and then the schools are going to be closed. So this will be a perfect opportunity to get into the schools in the neighborhoods in which you want to service. And the most important thing as agents is that you need to be trying to get listings. It is a true saying, you list, you last. So how many of you guys have listings right now? So listings is the name of the game. So you guys need to find a farm area, a place that you need to plant your feet. There's a formula to the farm area, and it's hard to give it over the phone. So what I would suggest, if you really want to go into farming, is that you make an appointment with me so that we can sit down and we can go over it, because there's a formula to it. But you guys need to start evaluating areas and where you want to start taking your listings. So if you want to get into listing really, really quickly, you can do one or two things. You can go onto Zillow and find all of the for sale by owners in your area, because that's the fastest way to get in. Or you need to start talking and communicating with banks, title companies, and lenders on getting the pre foreclosure list so that you can start helping people that are about to lose their property. What are some
Excuse
other
me.
ways that we could
Did
get
you
in?
say
Go ahead.
did you say title companies have the pre-foreclosure list as well?
They do. Now, here's the kicker to it. That's exactly where the list comes from. However, you have to have strong relationships with the title rep in order to get it.
Okay. I'm in the
So
process
you
of farming
walk in.
right. I'm in the process of farming right now, but I haven't come up with anything, and it's getting a
What you
little
mean?
discouraging. I haven't come up with a lead, a listing.
Keep going.
Yeah, you got to keep going. So, what I want to tell you guys is that when you get into this game, this is not a quick game. That's why I say the fastest way to get a listing is to start communicating with the for sale by owners or the people who are in pain. You have to find the pain points. So, the people who have had deaths, they have had sudden illness, they are going through a divorce, or they're about to lose the property. That's the fastest way to get into it. But if you can't find any of those, know that it's going to take 6 to 12 months in order for you to gain leverage in a neighborhood. But did you do the process beforehand to make sure that the neighborhood is going to feed you, Sharon?
And exactly what's that process?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys really quickly, but like I said, it's gonna be kind of difficult to teach it to
Is
you because we're on the phone. But the neighborhood needs to have at least um, 500 to 1,000 doors in it. The more doors, the better, because now you have more opportunity to gain leverage. Secondly, it needs to have a turnover rate of 10% or more. Now, the way you figure out turnover rate, you guys write this down, or you can go back and listen to the replay. So you're going to go into your MLS, you're going to search the subdivision, and you're going to search sold only for the last year. So you're going to put in 0 to 365 days. Now it's going to spit out a number at the bottom, and it's going to tell you, let's say 360 houses have sold in that area, in that subdivision, in the last 365 days. So now, how many doors are in that neighborhood? So let's say that there's 1,200 doors in that neighborhood. So you're going to take the 360, you're going to divide it by 1,200, and that's going to tell you what your turnover rate is. As long as it's 10% or more, you're good.
Yeah.
Now
Mine
the third.
over 1,000. It has
Okay.
over 1,000.
All right. So long as houses are, that means that houses are selling, right? There at least 10% of that neighborhood will sell. Now the third thing you do is that you go into the MLS and you look at those same souls and you organize the souls by office code. When you organize it by office code, it's going to tell you who's selling the houses. If one agent sold more than 30% of the 360 houses that were sold, that's their neighborhood. So I can't tell people that it does not work, but I would not spend my marketing dollars because in farming, you lead with revenue. So I wouldn't spend my marketing dollars on a neighborhood where one real estate agent has sold over 30% because when people go through that neighborhood, they think that that's that person's neighborhood. They're going to go to that person in order for them to be able to, when they get ready to sell their house.
I found it, and I know this going against the grain of like figuring out how much money you want to actually make. But when I got into it, I thought farming was intriguing, so I just decided to. Even though my neighborhood ranges around 250, um, I really want to sell more than that. But I found it easier just to farm at home because I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm here. I see people. I talk to people. Um, and it's just easier for me to kind of figure out my farming system before I go over to Pearland or something like that, you know?
So, but let's talk about time, right? Because time is our I'm sorry, I don't know why it keeps kicking me out today. Okay, so AK, let's talk about the time that we're spending because our time is money, right? So, how long have you been farming your area,
I guess since I started
and how long have you been in real estate?
about 3 years.
So wait, let's say consistently. How long have you consistently been actually farming your area?
Over the 3 years,
Oh,
I probably, no, I've actively always been, you know what I mean, farming, but not farming hard. So I don't know how to answer that question, I guess.
okay.
Not hard enough,
So,
I guess.
so how many listings have you got in your area?
Two.
Does your farm in 2 years? How much money have you spent in your area farming?
Not a lot. Not a lot. Because
Okay.
I kind of based it all off of just organic conversations. You know, I put together food truck events. The Mud District, you know, offers me that. I created a Facebook group. You know what I mean? Because next door got overcrowded with a bunch of junk, so I created a Facebook group just for our page. You know what I mean? I kind of do a little bit of subliminal marketing through that. So minimum dollars.
Okay. So when you're actively farming a neighborhood, it's going to take you about 6 to 12 months. This is what it looks like when you're actively forming a neighborhood. So you are part of at least three organizations in that area, and one of those organizations is the HOA as a sponsor. You are operating in your farm area at least 2 times a week. You have at least 12 events that you sponsor and throw in that area throughout the year. So you can start with March would be Easter egg. You start with all of the holidays, all of the seasons, back to school, Neighbors Day Out, National Garage Sale Day, um, movie night out, whatever's going on in that community, you are part of it, but every neighbor knows you. And you have listed, by this point, about 6 months in, you probably have listed at least 5 properties in that neighborhood because you've got some of them for sale by owners. You have done some open houses for the builders that are within 5 miles and connected with this neighborhood to do some second moves. So if you're actively farming the area, you're probably going to spend anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 in that neighborhood. Now, here's the problem without doing it with the formula. If you're actually spending money in the neighborhood and you only sold 2 houses and you're not getting a return, and the numbers doesn't matter, the numbers doesn't match. It doesn't matter because you live there or you don't. You can't leave with revenue and not make a return. So, not that you're going against the grain. Your neighborhood could be a great neighborhood to form. The two things that I believe that you were doing wrong is, did you do the formula to make sure it matched, and are you actively in that neighborhood at least 2 times a week?
No, I didn't do the formula.
Yeah. And so your neighbor, very, like I said, your neighborhood very well could meet the formula. But if you do the formula first, then you get and start building a relationship second. By 6 to 12 months, you should definitely have leverage in that area. Now, are there some free resources for farming? Absolutely. If you want to get more listings and you don't care about it being in a certain area, there is a company called Offers. Offers does surveys to neighborhoods of people who are more apt to move and sell their home. I would go and start getting my leads from Offers. Like I said, those three title companies, WFG, First American Title, and Stewart Title, also has a system that are free to real estate agents that will also do the same thing for you. They have the data and the system that do a survey to tell you who's more apt to move than not. But as a listing agent, you spend 25%, you spend 5% of your income that you make, and 25% of the time that the average real estate agent spends. And as a buyer's agent, you spend 25% of the money you make and 95% of the time that the average agent spends. So would you want to be a listing agent, or would you continue to want to be a buyer's agent?
Listing.
Yeah. So God forbid something happens to you. It's hard to build a business on buyers. And the reason why is because if something was to happen and you could not go out and show your buyers, you could not continue your business physically, your business will stop. But if you are a listing agent and you have signs in the yards, you could get sick, you could take off work, and you could stop doing, and your business will continue to go on because their buyers agents are the ones who sell the houses. So when you think of it like that, that's the reason why the saying is true. You list, you last. Now, do you guys think that this is harder to get listings in this season than it is any other season?
Yes.
Why?
It's a compatible
Because
market right now.
The
So
same tactic.
it's our yeah, it's the same tactic. So at this point, we got to debunk um, what the media is saying and our thoughts about it. Because actually, if the market is competitive, then it should be easier for us to get listings than it would be in a buyer's market. Let me tell you, it's harder to get listings in a buyer's market than it is a seller's market. And some of you guys have never been in a buyer's market, so you don't know. But in a buyer's market, there's 13 houses on one block for sale. So how do you get yours sold versus the other 12 that's on the block when the builder only makes 4 versions of that same house? So eventually your house is on that block at least 6 times. So what's going to make your house sell versus the other houses in the neighborhood? That so it's actually harder in a buyer's market. So in the seller's market, our job is to be able to get an exit plan for sellers, because a lot of people want to sell because they want to use the equity for something. So imagine, this is not going to sound really good, but the process still works. So imagine finding someone who's sick and down and out, and they're having to move, and they need the equity in their house in order to survive and live their life. If you can create an exit plan that benefits the buyer and the seller, you will get a lot of listings. You can find those people, especially people that are going through divorces, that are going through probate, that are moving out of their houses and moving into 55 plus neighborhoods because they can't afford to live on their own anymore. If you could come up with a positive, exit strategy that would benefit both the buyer and the seller, you could get listings all day long. So, someone give me an example of what an extra strategy would be. Yes. Like, how would I help someone who is sick and they need to sell their house? They need the equity, but they also need a place to stay. What would be the benefit of them selling their house?
uh, moving in assisted living. I mean, if they don't have a no family member to take care of them, they can get 24-hour care around the clock.
Very good. So I could put you in a better put you in a place where you can get 24-hour care, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to a nursing home. So there are boarding homes, there are assisted living communities, they have active and non-active, where you can actually enjoy a better quality of life. And in order for us to be able to pay for it, we got to pull the equity out of your property. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to sell it. Now, when we sell it, you don't have to move really, really quickly because I'm going to advertise it to the public that we're only going to take offers on people who will allow us to have a 45-day lease back. Do you think I could help that person sell their house quickly?
Yes.
Now, what's the benefit for the buyer in that
They
situation?
get to stay 45 days after selling. And
Well, no, the buyer, not the buyer. The buyer has to stay where they are for 45 days because the seller needs to lease back the house for 45 days in order to find them somewhere else to go. So what's
oh,
the benefit for the buyer?
they get rent. They
Hmm.
get money from the seller staying there.
They get money from the front of sale in there, but they also, we got a lot of buyers who are having a hard time finding a place to live because they keep get bidded out, right? But if you agree to take, you pay your rent for one more month, go month to month for one more month, you can actually collect uh, your mortgage payment from the seller. You can actually get a contract accepted, and you can take your time and move. So if we go out here and we create win-win situations, guys, and we get creative, we can definitely get listings because the seller's fears. What are the seller's pain points? What are their fears when they're putting their houses on the market? What are you guys hearing out there in the industry?
Being out on the street, where do they go next?
Hmm.
Is it going to sell the interest rate?
The interest rates, right? The interest rates have rose. So you guys need to learn that the how to communicate to sellers that actually buying in a market at 6% is better than buying in a market at 2%. Do y'all believe that?
Can you explain why?
Hmm. Because the interest is compound daily, right? So a person who got the mortgage at 3% and they paid $50,000 over it actually paid more money for it. Right now, market is pretty stable, so people are not paying that much over. So if they got that same house for $50,000 less at a 6% interest rate, they're not paying as much as they would if they would have bought that house at $50,000 more at a 3% interest rate. So houses are selling at cost right now. Now, will prices rise? Yes, prices are predicted to rise. But the difference in raising prices and bidding over and forcing the market up is two different things.
So that's kind of how the market corrects itself.
That's how the market corrects itself.
Mm,
Yes.
interesting.
It's called real estate cycles, right? Our parents were buying houses at 12 and 13%. So houses will sell. People will sell their houses. You just have to know the solution. And it's even better when you can put it to numbers. When you can tell a person how much money they can make and how much money you can save them.
Or walk around with a graphic on your phone of interest rates year over year.
Yeah. That's true, right? If you could get some data and get the graphics to show the interest rates year over year and how it affects them, people will buy. People believe in numbers. That's the reason why this tactic works when you make something $12.99. Some people will ask you like, why you just didn't say $13? Because even it's power in saving a penny. The numbers matter. You can convince anyone to do anything with you if you can tell it to them in non numeric terms. If I say today it's going to cost you $1,200, if you wait until August 1st, it's going to cost you $1,500. How many people would do it at $1,200 today?
A lot. Without
And the
even
real, yeah, without even thinking about it. And the reality is, you don't have the 15 or the 12. You figure it out, right? That's what people. That's what buyers are doing in our market right now. They're still buying. They still probably have a problem with the $1,200 payment versus the $1,500 payment, but it's the fear of the number. So if you start telling people now that rent is going to go up to $2,000 by August, you're going to have an influx of people who are trying to rent right now. Why? Because they want to save $200 a month. But if you just say rent is going to increase, you won't get people to move the needle. But if you tell people rent will be your rent that is $1,800 right now will be $200 more in the next 30 days. Do you want me to find you another place to rent? You will be amazed how many people will be like, okay, yeah, let's go. So, to sum up our day today, you need to do 72 touches. You need to be out in your community. You need to start attending the school board meetings in your area. You need to know your competition and figure out what their gap is. How many of you guys know who your competition is right now? So, you guys need to look
I
at
do.
social. You do? Who's your
Yeah.
competition, Andre?
Well, so so I have several, right? So I'm forming in my neighborhood, Fall Creek, right? And so I have this young lady who's she's dominating, right? And I'm carving out a piece of the pie. And then Fifth Ward, we have Para, who's building on the other side of the tracks, and then some independent builders such as myself, Chris Senegal. Well, I wouldn't say competition. I would say who's in the marketplace where I want to dominate, right? Um, so yes, those are the people.
So, my suggestion would be is to find where that gaps is because everyone has one, right? Um, some listing agents, they have every listing agent has, or every person in business who's dominating has a process, and so the community needs, and they have a process. Whatever need that they're not meeting, the fastest way to tap in is for you to meet that need. So let's use Chris as an example. What product is Chris building right now?
A block.
Yeah, but is he
Well,
building?
that's why I say he's not my competition. I don't like that word to be transparent with you. I like more of a completion of some people who's dominating the area, right?
Okay.
So I would say someone who's dominated a certain area that I'm tapping into, right? So
So
Chris has a strong following, and he's doing amazing things with marketing and getting the word out there, right?
yeah, but what product is he building?
Well, he's not really building anything anymore. Well, he's bought a church and he's getting ready to build apartments, commercial building at part of a historic church in Fifth Ward.
Okay. So if I was tapping into the area in which he is, what's the more dominant thing that's being built in that area? Like, are they building condos? Are they
Townhome
building three-star? Okay, they're building townhomes. Now, are they building them to sell or are they building them to rent? Who is their customer?
to sale.
Okay. So if I wanted to go in that area and I wanted to dominate, I would go in that area and I would build to rent. So I would build to investors. I would change my customer base because there's nobody building and teaching people that right now, because we have a 500,000 housing shortage in the world, right now we need more people to rent. You will make more money. You could qualify for more and you could do more business if I built to rent instead of built to sell.
And I will also add seller financing in there as well.
Yeah. So it's about that's how we study our competition. I'm just using it as an example. I find the person who's dominating in that area, I find their gap. He's building to sell. So his gap is that there is no rental product in there. There's no new build rental product in that area. So guess who's going to bring it? Me. If I was a traditional real estate agent and I went in and there was an agent in that area and that agent um, specialized in a certain product. They specialize in a certain price range. I'm going to go either higher or lower if it exists in that area.
You know that's a great point because we build in two more. Actually, we build in 25 homes in Fifth Ward. So anyone who's looking to buy, get at me. Uh, but three of the four homes are being used for Airbnb. So the other
Hmm.
buyer that we have on the contract, he's going to Airbnb it. And the crazy part about this is that it stay full. Both homes stay full, even though it's the same product, which lets me know that it's a market for Airbnb new construction closer to the freeway, and we do not have a garage, right? So
Hmm.
that's a good point that you guys brought up.
So I would market that. I would be the person who market that you could build your Airbnb instead of buy your Airbnb, right? Build it. You got more control of it. They just canceled Airbnb in Atlanta, so all of the investors are going to be coming this way. They're going to turn their Airbnbs into traditional rentals, but now they need somewhere to make their money. So I will be advertising to all of the investors that are in Atlanta and moving them toward Houston. We can still do Airbnb here. Build your Airbnb. That will be my product. That will be my marketing line.
Shit, yeah. Watch out, Andre. Hey,
I mean,
and that's what's that guy named Ananje over in Third Ward. He just built out a well, I guess flipped a multiplex and turned it into a short term, and it's booming like a mug after 2 months. And everybody
yeah.
said it wouldn't work over there. They said it wouldn't work in Fifth Ward. You know.
Listen, wherever you are and wherever you want to work, if you just do a little research, figure out the competition and find their gaps and fill it, you will be in business before you know it. Now, the way to sit down and analyze that kind of stuff is just it's a thinking process. We have to spend a little bit more time in our business these days because the internet has really flooded people with all of these great ideas. But what we have very few of is follow up and follow through. And so if you take what you have, your ideas, and you follow up and you follow through, you're going to make a lot of money in this business. But the first two things that we definitely need to work on is our behaviors and our mindsets. Our behaviors are the evidence of our successes. So the better behaviors you have, the more success you're going to have. So I would suggest you guys kind of look at that. I am going to figure out if you guys will. I'm going to put my email address in the chat. Send me an email if you want this productivity sheet. This sheet you can use. Like earlier today, me and Tania was doing an exercise, and I told her to do her success list of the top 15 things that she can needs to do. This list will keep us accountable, and it will also help us track our business. So if you have no tracking sheets or processes, then this will be a really good sheet for you, and I will send it to you guys if you want it. So I'm putting my email address in the chat right now because I can't figure out how to upload it in this thing, and I have bad reception today for some reason. So any questions before we get off today? Any questions, ahas, any information you guys need? Let me know.
Hey guys, I just wanted to step in and invite you to our happy hour tomorrow. If you hadn't gotten a chance to register, you can find it on Eventbrite. it should come up under CR Elite Realty Happy Hour. It'll be from 5 to 7. And the coolest thing about this one is we'll have vendors in the room that we haven't had before. You'll see someone from home insurance, from home inspection, from warranty, and also from title here to network with you along with a lot of your colleagues. So please come in the room. It'll be free food, open bar. Fun will be had by all. I hope to see you there.
Tomorrow I'm also teaching lead generation. So if you wasn't able to take it at the title company, make sure you guys are there between 12 and 2 tomorrow. And you can also access the class online. If you make sure you guys show up on time. If you're there and sign in by 12 o'clock, you will get 3 hours of CE class. Any other questions or comments or anything we need to talk about before we get off today? All right. I hope to see you guys tomorrow on the same on Clubhouse at the same time, 8:30. We will be going over some helpful information. And if you have any questions before then, please don't hesitate to reach me on Instagram at I am Janelle Compton. You can send me a message, or you can send me an email, or you can actually reach me on my link tree, which is in Instagram, and schedule a discovery call with me. You guys have an awesome, productive day.
Thank you, Janelle.
You're welcome. Y'all have a great day.
Bye bye.
Thank you.